Welcome back to On the Ball, reacting to our Premier League predictions over the weekend. We got a scoring system, as you can see on the top corner, 109 points to Sim, 115 points to myself. And if you don't know by now, the way the scoring works is 5 points for a completely correct scoreline, 1 point for a correct result. And the dreaded star man, once you pick that man, you cannot pick them again for the rest of the season. I got 5 points. 5 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist. And Sim used a very special card this weekend. Star men. So we're going to need to take a VAR check because me and Sim have both picked Erling Haaland. So Ben, who picked him first? Sim.
Oh, come on. I don't know if that's a good thing, actually, because usually when this happens, he doesn't score. So, but surely Leeds, and he's been rested. There's like no reason why he's not going to score like 5 goals. Don't want to talk about it. I think you should be able to use Haaland twice, I think that's fair.
We both picked our Haaland card, but seeing as Sim picked him first, he got to stick with him.
I thought you got to stick with him, no? This week.
You wish. I ended up picking Ryan Cherky.
I was looking back at the message, I'm pretty sure you said him first, actually. Yeah.
Did you see my message? You saw the stamp?
Yeah, I saw it, yeah.
You locked into Ben's phone.
Yeah, Ben sent me the screenshot.
You got to take it up with the referees, I guess, on this one.
Independent adjudicator.
Yeah. We shall get into Starman a bit later in the episode, but we're going to start off at the G-Tech as Brentford won 3-1 against Burnley. Sim went for 1-1. I went for 3-1. And Sim must have thought he was on his way to a 5-pointer because Burnley did equalise with 5 minutes to go.
Sim didn't think he was on his way to a 5-pointer.
Because Brentford took the lead with 10 minutes to go or something. Burnley equalised with 5 minutes to go. I think both of them being penalties. And then out of nowhere, Brentford scored 2 more goals in the back end of the game in the 92nd minute and the 86th minute. So, I mean, this game wasn't the greatest game until the last 10 minutes all kind of sprung into life, didn't it? It was just goals left, right and centre.
Utara's won quite a few penalties now, hasn't he, this season? He's become getting quite a knack of it. But fair play to Brentford. I think they're just looking at some of the stats of the game. Looks like they deserve the win. So fair play to them. And in 10th place. And yes, they can be a bit inconsistent, but what do you expect from Brentford? Obviously, they're going to win some games, lose some games. But Keith Andrews, I think mainly at home, they're third. There you go, third in the home form. They've really got something good going at home. They've kept that togetherness that they had last season and through the Thomas Frank era. They've built on it, and they pretty much haven't missed a beat from last season. So fair play to them. Another brilliant win. Burnley obviously looking ominous for them. But yeah, if they continue this home form, they're going to be absolutely fine. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking at Brentford compared to last season. I just feel like they're a more solid team this year as well. They're not conceding as many goals. Their front three look dynamite. Igor Thiago, only 3 goals behind Erling Haaland, which is unbelievable. We were talking about Erling Haaland having this monstrous, unprecedented season. And Igor Thiago just rocks up only 3 goals behind. 11 goals in 13 games for him. Yeah, he just can't. He's on mad form. He can't stop scoring, can he?
Yeah.
And considering as well, he was off the back of a very bad injury. And he's had to put on the shoulders of replacing Mbeumo and Wissa. Unbelievable from him. But yeah, credit to Andrews. He's getting the best out of him.
Yeah.
And he's getting the best out of the squad. But yeah, 21 goals. They now scored the same amount as Tottenham this season.
Yeah, and they're above Tottenham in the league by a point.
Keith Andrews, start looking his way.
Yeah, do you want to get him in?
Well, based on our recent hiring practice, maybe. Well, let's do a 50-point plan.
Yeah.
We'll see where it comes out.
Let's go to the Etihad next. It was Man City 3, Leeds United 2. In a bit of a crazy game, this one, because after 25 minutes, Man City are 2-0 up, and you're thinking, all right, we both predicted 4-0, and you're probably thinking, you know what, 5 points coming our way for this one. But Leeds said absolutely not, because Calvert-Lewin scored just after the break, and then they got another one, didn't they, just with 20 minutes to go. And you're thinking, what the hell is happening to Man City? What the hell is happening in this game? And Phil Foden saves their bacon right at the death. And just as we were saying, Man City are here to play. Man City are getting back to their best. Pep Guardiola's got a plan, and it's all. I know they won the game, but in the manner in which they won this game, Man City fans, I think, will be quite worried.
Yeah, and off the back of losing to Newcastle as well last game, doesn't really make a statement, does it, about being back in the title race after Pep said, this is where the season really starts, and it's not about how you're doing now, it's how you do in May, and this is like a crucial period of the season. And it started not great for Man City performance-wise, and to be 2-0 up and to give up to a team like Leeds, who have been struggling of late, not been on good form, haven't really been good goals. I think they're 13 goals I can see, so apart from Wolves, they've scored the least. So you're thinking, if you're 2-0 up against that team and as dominant as they were, there's no way they should be giving up a lead. But Leeds changed their formation at half-time. Daniel Farke went to a back three. He went more high pressing. And fair play to Leeds. They caught Man City off guard. And even Donnarumma did what seems to be happening every game now. He went down with a fake injury, so Pep can have a tactical talk or a tactical timeout or such on the timeline, and they still conceded straight after that, so that didn't even work. But they huffed and they puffed, and they got the goal in the end. To be fair, they were pressing quite hard, and it wasn't that surprising when the goal did come. But still, the fact that they nearly risked a result against Leeds when you're 2-0 up is got to be ringing alarm bells for Pep.
Yeah, absolutely. But Phil Foden, though, 2 goals in this game. I think, look, he got a couple of goals in the Champions League against Dortmund
2 good goals
a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, 2 very good goals. And I feel like even though the goal contributions isn't as high as it was maybe a couple of seasons ago, I feel like, he's worlds apart to what he was last season, at least. Like last season, he was really poor, right? This season, I feel it's a vast improvement.
Yeah, I did feel like he had a slow start. Obviously, I don't know if he had injuries or whatever, but I think he's definitely coming into the season now. As you said, the Champions League, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, he was brilliant and did score in the Manchester derby as well. And now, obviously, he's got 2 this weekend. He's looking like his old self again. If they can get him anywhere near to the form where he won Player of the Year, maybe they do stand a shout of getting back in this title race. But they're going to need him, because Clay showed yesterday, when Haaland's not scoring, they need someone else to step up. And obviously he did that.
Yeah, we had a Man City head-to-head in Starman. Sim went for Erling Haaland. I was forced to go for Ryan Cherky, and I messaged Sim before the game, bloody Pep roulette, Ryan Cherky not even starting. And Haaland, no goals. That's back-to-back games with no goals now for Erling Haaland. And Ryan Cherky comes on and gets the assist, which is quite unbelievable.
Yep, just my luck. Just my luck in the one game at home to Leeds. Who would have thought it? It's not like, to be fair, he didn't even have that many chances in this game.
He took one shot the whole game.
He was a bit of an off day for him. So I don't know what happened. Pep, you could see after the game, was having a long conversation with him. Friendly, but kind of... it was friendly, but you could see there was something also undertones about
aggressive
it.
Encouragement.
Aggressive
encouragement. That's Pep Guardiola in a nutshell, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So, look, we'll see if they can build on it. We know Man City, we've seen it before. They have fairly slow starts and then they can kick into gear. So we'll see if that does happen. They obviously did cut the gap to Arsenal's 5 points, so they'll be happy with that. But they need to close it to 0, that's going to be a tall order when they keep losing the odd game here and there. They've lost 4 games already this season.
Yeah. Sunderland, Bournemouth, another unbelievable game in the Premier League this weekend. Sunderland won by 3-2. Sim went for 2-1 to Sunderland. I went for 1-1. So Sim gets a point on this occasion. I mean, Bournemouth go 2-0 up within inside 25 minutes or half an hour, whatever it may be. And Sunderland's never say die attitude. They turned the game completely on its head and won the game 3-2, which is quite an unbelievable performance from Sunderland after being 2-0 down. And that is what you get from dogged work rate, got some quality in there as well. But it's mainly the work rate that this team shows week in, week out, and why they're doing so well, in my opinion.
Yeah, and obviously they've recruited very well, but I think they've just got this energy about them. It's the energy of a big team who haven't been in the Premier League for a while. It reminds me of kind of like when Leeds first came up after being out for so long. I think they finished 9th that season. They had so much just excitement and energy, and they obviously did burn out in later seasons. But Sunderland seems to have that. It's energised the city. It's energised that stadium, and they have the players to match as well. They've got a really good squad, and Brian Brobby, another last-minute goal, or it wasn't last minute, but another very crucial goal for him in this one as well. After equalising the last minute against Arsenal, got the winner in this one after being 2-0 down. But by the way, Tyler Adams scoring from the halfway line.
Yeah.
There seems to be a bit of a trend of recent weeks in football of halfway line goals. We've had
there's
McLean.
that one, the Richarlison.
We got Richarlison. We got McLean for Scotland. There was one in the Europa League as well. I can't remember what game it was, but there was a goal on a halfway line from the Europa League. I wonder if there's a tactic at the moment trying to catch keepers off guard from the halfway line, because it seems to be happening more and more. Usually you get one of those a season, and we've got like 4 in the last few weeks. So that's quite an interesting thing. But yeah, Bournemouth. I think as well, Bournemouth, the way they played, I think last season they were top of the league for giving up points from winning positions. It's very much typical Bournemouth to kind of, come out firing, get a lead, and then the thing is they don't know how to manage games. Bournemouth, they're very good when it's chaotic and when the game's level and when the team's kind of the opposition is coming at you and trying to win, and they can kind of thrive in that chaos. But when they're leading, they seem to have real trouble knowing what to do, knowing when to manage the game, when to calm things down. They don't have that setting, and that's something Iraola has got to figure out if he's really gonna get this team to the European spots, which at this point I guess that's the next evolution of them, because they've been a mid-table team for the last couple of years. Fair play to him, that's a credit to him. But if they want to take that next step of challenging for Europe, he's going to have to figure it out.
With Bournemouth, though, 3 losses and 1 draw in their last 4 games. I remember last year, towards the middle of the season, there was a big clamour within the Spurs fan base to bring in Andoni Iraola, and at that point, their form started to massively drop. And a very similar thing is happening this time. I know a few weeks ago, a lot of Spurs fans saying, let's get rid of Frank, let's get in Andoni Iraola, and the form's completely fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Bournemouth. They go through these wild swings. I think we saw that even last season at times. They can go through 10, 12 matches where they're like not unbeaten and winning quite a lot of games, and then they can go 10 matches where they only get a couple of wins. It's kind of the chaotic nature of their football. I really like Iraola. Do I think he's ready for the next step up? Look, to be fair, Bournemouth, again, they're a very smart team, smart with their recruitment. So, again, expectations would be different, but I'd like to see it. I'd like to see what you can do, a better team, to be honest.
Would you like that better team to be Spurs?
I don't know. Probably over what I'm seeing at the moment. I think if he can bring the football to what, again, I think it would be better than what it is now in terms of just more exciting. But, yeah, I don't know. I feel like he could be very similar to Poch potentially.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he'd be an unbelievable long-term manager for us. I don't know. I like him, though.
Everton 1, Newcastle 4 at the Hill Dickinson. We both went for Everton wins. I went for 2-1, you went for 1-0. And quite an unbelievable. Newcastle get their first away win of the season, and they absolutely batter Everton at the Hill Dickinson. I mean, where did this one come from? Because Everton and Newcastle just be getting battered week in, week out away from home.
Yeah, and they lost in midweek to Marseille as well. So off the back of a poor performance, but they just came flying out the traps in this one. Within a minute, they were 1-0 up.
Yeah. It was 3-0 at half time.
Malik Thiaw, he scored a double. He scored a brace on the day. Voltmader with a lovely finish as well. So Newcastle Everton were off it. Everton off the back of a really great win at Old Trafford with 10 men. You would have thought they would be very confident going into this game, but they were just completely off it from the first minute. I think sometimes Moyes teams can be like that. On the occasion, they could be quite passive, and they can just allow too much encouragement to the opposition. I think when Moyes' teams are at their best, they're very proactive, and they're looking at ways to hurt the opposition. But I think sometimes Moyes can be a bit too focused on stopping the opposition, and it can lead to performances like this where they're just a bit off it and they're just waiting to react to things. And I think that's what happened in this game. They're way too reactive, and Newcastle took advantage.
Yeah, Everton were buzzing last weekend because they went up above Liverpool but yeah, it was kind of short-lived, wasn't it?
I said you got to enjoy it while it lasts, and I don't know how long it's going to be. But good win for Newcastle. It only takes them to 13th. Obviously, it puts them right in the mix in terms of they're 4 points off top 5 now. So which with a lot of teams before they were not even that far off the relegation zone. So kind of climbed their way out of that situation, which is not unexpected. But yeah, they've still got a lot of proving to. I do think they're very much struggling with the balance of Champions League and the league campaign. And that was very similar to how they were beforehand when they were last in the Champions League. They had a massive drop-off as well. So, yeah, that's something that Eddie Howe is going to have to figure out at some point, because if they can't keep getting Champions League, massive drop-off, then get back into the European
They're doing decent in the Champions League, though. They are doing decent in the Champions League.
Yeah, they're doing all right.
And you know what? In the Premier League, they're not exactly that far off it, are they?
I mean, they're 13th.
No, I'm saying points-wise, they're not like far off it.
They were up until recently. I'm saying they've been struggling this season.
Yeah.
To balance.
Yeah.
So we'll see how they get on.
Tottenham 1, Fulham 2. Both of us went for 2-1, but we went for Tottenham to win 2-1. And yeah, this was another absolute shit show from Tottenham Hotspur. Within 5 minutes, Spurs are 2-0 down. First one, passive defending. Second one, an astonishing goalkeeping error from Vicario. And Fulham could have been 4-5-0 up at half-time, to be honest, if it wasn't for Mickey van der Ven. Spurs fought back a little bit in the second half, came out of the traps well, got the goal back, but couldn't seem to do much more.
Yeah, kind of ran out of steam near the end of the game, so really shocking from Spurs. And Thomas Frank is under serious pressure now at Tottenham. It all started well at Spurs, and there was a lot of hope, but at the moment, the pressure is mounting, performances are getting worse, the home form is absolutely diabolical, it's completely unacceptable. And I think the big problem with a lot of Tottenham fans is they're looking at a team that we know, can attack on its day, and we can't seem to create a good quality chance. Yes, defensively as well. On the top of that, we had this defensive solidity at the beginning of the season, which has completely gone out the window. We're conceding way too many shots, and I mean, to be fair, Fulham have not exactly peppered us, although they could have been 4-0 up in that first half. But again, that was a lot due to individual errors. It wasn't because they were opening us up, we were just shooting ourselves in the foot in that game. But the main thing is, our main form of attack is getting to the byline, getting a cross in and hoping for a header. And that is just not a sustainable way of winning football matches regularly. And Tottenham fans paying very high season ticket prices are starting to lose patience and getting fed up. And there's a big problem at Tottenham, I think. Frank is under serious pressure to turn things around. I don't know where Tottenham go for that if Frank does leave. So maybe he's going to get more time than people want. But the fans have, I would say, I would have said losing, but I think it's lost patience, I think, at this point. So, yeah, he needs to start getting results and good performances.
Yeah, it's interesting that with terms of like losing and lost patience, because you ask many Spurs fans saying, do they believe in Thomas Frank? I think not many would say yes. But then if you ask many Spurs fans saying, do you want to sack him now? I don't think many would say yes either, just because like they're in a bit of in between a rock and a hard place, because like, what, you're going to sack another manager mid-season? Which way do you turn?
It's true, but let's say Poch was available. Do you think the answer would still be no? You know what I mean?
Probably not.
Yeah, so like I think it's more to do with people don't see who we go for right now. There's no real obvious candidate, so maybe the best course of action is just let him turn it around. But then again, it is only 13 games.
Javi's sitting there.
Javi is sitting there. Javi is. I don't know. Maybe he's the answer. I obviously he did well at Barca, but then obviously he ended up leaving.
I'm saying the best managers in the world right now are all disciples of Pep. You know, Arteta, Maresca, Xabi Alonso. Javi's another one.
Maybe it's worth giving it a go.
And the problem is another disciple of Pep is Erik ten Hag. So, you know what happens? Spurs will hire Javi and we'll go, oh yeah, he's another Pep disciple, and he'll just flop.
I just think the big problem is, at the moment, in current form, in the last few games, we've been horrible going forward like we have been all season. And on top of that, we've been horrible defensively recently. Yeah. So then all of a sudden it's like, what are we doing here? What is he improving exactly?
I know.
Before you could at least say, okay, he's improving the defence, so there's something, that's what he's doing. And then, going forward, we can figure that out. But now we're horrible defensively and going forward, and it doesn't seem to be changing. Yeah. So that's a big problem for him. He needs to figure that out. Obviously, he is 13 games in. I'm not saying he's got time, but he's obviously going to get the next few games at the very least, I think. So he's got chances to turn it around. But yeah, it's difficult. For Fulham, though, I said before, I thought we were 3 points behind. They're actually 1 point behind us now, which is mad to think about. But they've built themselves quite a good buffer now between them and the relegation zone. So they'll be pretty comfortable with that. 6 points off the 18th place now. So I think any fears of them getting dragged into it seems to be subsided, I would say.
Yeah, I never really thought they'd get dragged into it, to be honest. I think Marco Silva's a very good manager. And, I thought they'll get it together at some point. But another thing that's so frustrating about Spurs is just like whenever you seem to have a decent performance where, attacking intent seems to be on display and the Spurs and the players are fighting, it's always seems to be one step forward and 5 steps backwards for Tottenham, and that's the most frustrating thing of it all, because we know we've got it in us. We know we've got players. We know we've even got a manager that can create a lot more chances than what we're creating right now. But I just don't understand why that happens so often with Tottenham Hotspur, no matter who the manager is. It's just so frustrating.
Life of the Spurs fan.
Let's move on to the Sunday games. Crystal Palace lost at home 2-1 to Manchester United. Both of us went for Palace wins. Sim went for 1-0. I went for 2-0. Mateta puts them 1-0 up from the penalty spot, one that had to be retaken. And Man United turn it around in the second half with Joshua Zirkzee scoring and also Mason Mount, 2 players that have been a bit out in the cold a bit this season. I'm not sure what really happened to Palace in this game, because I was watching a bit of the first half and they seemed to be, on top, creating chances. And Man United seemed to turn it around. I don't really know what happened.
What happened was they got tired because they played on Thursday. They have a big problem, Palace, and Glasner was complaining after the game about this. They basically have a first 11, and they're playing that first 11 in every single game. They don't have a deep squad. They didn't invest in the summer. Glasner said after the game, this is our first year in European football. We had an opportunity. You either invest or you save, and we saved, and we're paying the price for it now. They've played 4 games after European Thursday nights. They've lost 3 and they've drawn 1. I think they're unbeaten in the other games. They haven't lost. So that goes to show how they're struggling to balance both competitions. And because it's their first year in Europe, they can't exactly sack off the European campaign. The European campaign is exactly what all Palace fans will have been looking forward to for their whole lives. So that actually is the priority this season, winning that competition or doing well in that competition. That's going to be the priority for them this season. So that leads to this frustration. And they were brilliant in the first half, completely dominant, which 1-0 up and could have been more. But they tied in that second half and they allowed Man United back in the game. They couldn't get close. But to be fair, it's not like United were brilliant in that second half. They just found 2 moments of quality. Fair play, good goals. But the first goal was, I don't know how Zirkzee scores that goal. It's the tightest angle on his left foot, swiveling half volley. And he somehow found the corner. It's a goal out of absolute nothing. But it's a brilliant finish. And then within a minute, I think, or 2 minutes, Mason Mount scored a free kick. And you have to say, watching that free kick, it's horrific defending from the Palace defence. 2 defenders coming out the wall. And I don't know why. If they would have just stood there and stayed strong as a wall, that goal gets blocked. But for some reason, they went flying out and jumped. And he just hit it under the wall. And it caught Henderson off guard. So they scored 2 goals. Good goals, but I don't think that's something that I think is you can rely upon every game to score those kind of goals. And they were completely opened up in the first half. So, United aren't fooling me with that win, in my opinion. It was still a poor performance for large parts. They were very lucky to win. But credit to them, you still got to go there. And Palace, I think, have been unbeaten at home this season. So fair play. It's not an easy place to go and win. And they had to turn around with 2 good quality goals, and they kept them out for the last half an hour. So credit where credit's due. But I didn't watch that performance thinking, wow, United are turning a corner here. I didn't see that.
But, they're 7th in the league, 3 points behind Chelsea and 3rd in the league. It's not exactly going terribly there.
Well, 7th's not exactly great for Man United, is it?
No, but 3 points behind 3rd.
Yeah, but that's the league. It's just very tight.
Yeah, but you still got to win games to get there, you know what I mean? They are level points at Liverpool. We're all talking about how much of a stinker Liverpool are having this season, but the ambitions are completely different at both clubs. Manchester United finished where last season? 15th, 16th, wherever it was. So
yeah, but he's got 1 game a week.
Yeah.
He was expected to challenge for top 4 this season.
Yeah, and at this moment in time they are.
Okay, but then you could say if they are, everyone down from 10th was challenging for top 4.
At this moment in time they are.
So, okay, great.
They're just staying on par.
I know, it doesn't mean... Okay, so they're 3 points above us. It's like, okay, are we in the top 4 race as well?
I mean, we're 6 points behind Chelsea, and the thing is, they're picking up wins. We're losing every week, so it's a bit different.
They just went on 3 games without a win, United. They won. Fair play to them, but I wouldn't say it's going great. Look, I'm just judging by what I'm seeing. I'm not judging by their results.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced by them at all.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I don't think many people are convinced by watching their games. They're not performing well right now, and they are missing some key players in the forward line. That's got to be said, because their forward options past the starters are pretty poor. But yeah, look, I don't think many Man United fans are going to be delighted with the way their team are playing, but they're picking up results, so you've got to give them credit for it.
Well, they won. They won for the first time in 4, so they get credit for they beat Palace. They get credit for that.
And before that one time in 4, they won 4 and 5 before that. So
yeah, and before that they were winless for a large part. So, look, they're doing okay. They're inconsistent. They do have, though, their next 2 games are Wolves and I think West Ham. So they do have a chance to go on a bit of a winning run if they can get things right.
Yeah, but then they got a very hard run after that.
So they need to win those next 2.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Villa 1, Wolves 0. Both of us went for 3-1 wins to Villa. This was a tighter game, which I anticipated before the game. Obviously, Rob Edwards, I think his second game in charge. And he got them pressing really well. He got them fighting really well, particularly in the midfield. And it was a fairly even game. I thought Wolves were giving as good as they got. They had their own chances to score, just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. And yeah, it was just Aston Villa, the side with that bit more quality, go on and win the game.
Yeah, Wolves they're very unlucky. I think the game changed a bit when there was a moment Wolves actually did score, and it was ruled out for offside because it was one of those offside players interfering with play kind of goals. And that kind of took the stuffing out of them a bit, because they were getting so much encouragement. I think Martinez had to tip a header onto the underside of the bar, and it was they were playing so well in that first half. Villa were kind of, they were very passive and they were letting Wolves dominate. But Wolves didn't take advantage. Villa got back in the second half. But again, there seems to be a trend with Villa. They keep scoring goals from range, and they keep winning games that way. I don't know how sustainable that is. I know they're currently 4th and on a great winning run, so fair play to them. But a lot of their wins have been players scoring from range, and I don't know if you can keep relying on that. It's a brilliant goal from Kamara, but it's quite an interesting trend for Aston Villa, how they keep getting goals from outside the box and they keep winning games for them.
Yeah,
I don't know how long that can carry on for.
Yeah, I mean, I think we spoke about that in the last episode, didn't we? And again, they've won a game in that manner. But look, they've got hard games coming up, so I think it was so important for them to get this run going in the games where they should be winning. But they got Arsenal next, West Ham away, Man United, Chelsea away.
Oh, they got Arsenal midweek.
They've got Arsenal.
They got Brighton away next.
Yeah, and then Arsenal after that. Sorry, so they've got Arsenal twice before the end of December.
Villa are the kind of team that Arsenal tend to struggle against, but we'll see.
Yeah, let's hope so. So let's go to
as well. They're 6 points behind Arsenal. They're level on points with Chelsea. Incredible how they've pulled there after not winning the first 5 games.
So if they can beat Arsenal twice,
are they in the title race?
Nottingham Forest 0, Brighton 2. Very good performance from Brighton in this one. We both went for 2-2. Sean Dyche, I think, losing his first home game since joining there, if I'm not mistaken. But both teams on very good form, to be honest. Nottingham Forest, I think, won their last couple of games. Brighton have won their last couple of games. But I think just quality told in this game. I think the footballing gods were looking down on this game, being like, we're going to award the win to the best footballing side, and that's what it went to.
Yeah, Brighton were the better seed team from start to finish, pretty much. Forest did have their moments, but by and large,
and you're going to get that against Brighton, though, aren't you?
Yeah, Brighton were far dominant. Before the goal, it was like, how the hell they're not 1-0 up? They were just having chance after chance. The first goal was a brilliant move. I can't remember who actually started it home, but it was a brilliant move. Simas. No, the first goal.
Oh, the first goal. Who scored the first goal?
Was it Ayari?
No, it wasn't Ayari.
It was a brilliant goal, whoever slotted it home.
Decipher.
Who's a defender.
Yeah, fullback, yeah.
It was a brilliantly worked goal. And they just passed the move and opening up Forest, and they were doing it time after time. Forest just couldn't live with Brighton, and in the second half they killed it off and won the game 2-0. And they're up to 5th now, Brighton. And Hertzler finished 8th last season. I believe, is that their best ever league finish in the Premier League? Even though they've had Europe before, I think they must have got it through finishing 8th. But now their 5th this season. You know, the guy is only not even. I think he's not even 40. He's like mid-30s, isn't he? Hertzler, early 30s even. He's doing a really good job there. They're playing some really good football, and they're an exciting team. A lot of technical players. 32. There you go. 32 years old, and they're fifth. They're 2 points off Chelsea, and they're having a really exciting season at the moment, Brighton, and they're dreaming. They're probably dreaming of European football again next season. Why not?
I mean, I feel like we go through this with Brighton every season with all the different managers that they have. But look, at this moment in time, they're doing very well. I feel like over the course of a long season, though, they'll show a lot of inconsistencies, which I think they showed last season as well. I mean, there were times last season where I was so impressed with them, but then they'll go on runs of like 4 or 5 games without winning. So I feel like the same kind of characteristics will probably creep into them this year as well.
Might do, but 8th is great for them, and they could push on for Europe this season. Why not?
Yeah, they could.
With a lot of teams. I think that they're better than Sunderland. I think that they also have 1 game a week, so you know teams like Palace could fall off. I think they're better than Brentford, potentially better than Bournemouth as well. So why can't they?
Yeah, look, they can. I just feel like there will be inconsistencies there. But look, with the teams that you
all the teams.
yeah, that's what I was just about to say. With the teams that you've just mentioned, there'll be inconsistencies everywhere. So. Look, Hertz is a good manager. He's got building a good team there, and they're doing very well. But I think they'll do well to get like Conference League and at a push into the Europa League spots. But that'll be unbelievable season for them.
Yeah.
West Ham 0, Liverpool 2. Liverpool back to winning ways. Sim went for 3-2 to Liverpool. I went for 2-1 to West Ham. And West Ham couldn't really bloody their noses in this game at the London Stadium. Alexander Isak getting his first goal in the Premier League for Liverpool, and then they sealed it right at the end after West Ham went down to 10 men in pretty stupid fashion with Lucas Paqueta, but Cody Gakpo scores at the end.
I think the big question was, did Paqueta have himself to be sent off? That was the big question. Did he have a bet on it? Because what was he doing? What was he doing? He wouldn't leave the referee alone until he gave him a second yellow. You could see it was coming. You could see the referee multiple times told him to go away. And he just coming back until he forced the referee to give him that second yellow card. It was a very weird situation. Nuno seemed very angry after the game. He just said, I need to understand why I'm going to talk to him. But you could see in his eyes, he was fuming. I didn't really understand obviously, I don't know what the incident was he was complaining about, but what was he thinking back? So it was a head loss moment. But you know what? Credit to Liverpool, they deserved the win. They were much the better team throughout the whole game, from start to finish. They were dominant. They were the ones creating all the chances. I thought in the first half they were much better team, and they missed all those chances. And I was like, this is definitely going to come back to bite them, isn't it? Because of how things have gone for them. But credit to them, they kept their foot on the necks of West Ham. Isaac got his first Premier League goal for Liverpool. Gakpo sealed it. So maybe a turning point. I think it's way too early to say that, but good win. Yeah,
I thought Florian Wirtz looked a lot better in this game as well. Was really creating a consistent amount of chances.
The key, dropping Salah.
Yeah,
that's why I kept saying they have to drop him, because he's not providing anywhere near enough for the team. And they put Gomez at right back as well, added a bit more defensive solidity. So maybe he's found a bit of a formula that can work in the short term until they get to January, when they can maybe address some of the issues. Yeah,
I did say in the last review of the Prem, I bet you they put Joe Gomez in the next game, but I did say it would be in place of Konate, not at fullback. But he is back in the team, and he did well. He did very well. Yeah, he got an assist, yeah. All right, let's get into the game from last night. Chelsea won, Arsenal won. We both went for 1-1, and that's exactly how it panned out. So 2 5-pointers each. So Chelsea get a sending off with 10 minutes to go of the first half, and at that point, I mean, we were watching it together here. We're like, all right, game over. Arsenal going to steamroll them now. But you know what? I thought from that point onwards, I thought Chelsea were the better team, man. I thought Chelsea deserved more out of the game than what they got, in my opinion. They go 1-0 up with 10 men, and then obviously Arsenal equalise, and you're thinking maybe when Arsenal equalise, they're going to push on and score that second goal, but it just didn't really happen. So you've got to give Chelsea so much credit for the way they played with 10 men against this Arsenal team, who everyone's calling champions-elect at this moment in time. On the face of things, you know, if you look back on it, with 10 men, Chelsea, got to say, a point is a good result, but I think they could have got more.
I think they were better. Yeah, 11 v 11 they were better. 10 versus 11 they were better. It was a brilliant performance. So Maresca really showing his managerial chops here, because in the previous games when they went down to 10 men, I think it was at home to Brighton, away at Man United, they've struggled to impact the game, and they've allowed it to affect the results badly. I think on this occasion they were playing brilliantly before they went down to 10 men, and I think Maresca changed a few things, and credit to him. And also, when you're down to 10 men, the last player you want out of your team is also Caicedo. All that running power out of the team. I think it was the right decision, by the way. I think definite red card. I don't think he'll have any complaints.
No.
Horrible challenge. But the way they reacted to going down to 10 men was brilliant. And Maresca's really showing his adaptability in those situations. He changed out from how he was doing earlier in the season to when they went down to 10 men. Although they shouldn't be having that many red cards. But anyway.
He's had enough experience playing with 10 men now.
I know, it's crazy. They're second to Arsenal now when it comes to goals from set pieces, and they got the goal here with a brilliant header from Chalobah. And Arsenal were really off it, I felt, for a lot of the game. I think they had the least shots they've had in a game this season. I think only 8 shots. Chelsea were the ones, if anything, who looked more dangerous throughout the game. To be fair, after Chelsea were 1-0 up, I don't remember too many chances they had. They just looked good. They looked like they were a threat, and they were, Reece James was bossing things in midfield, and they were looking a threat on the counter with Neto and Garnacho. But I don't remember off the top of my head too many actual opportunities they had to score. But I think the most impressive thing is how tight they kept it at the back. Arsenal, Sanchez did have to make a couple of saves, but apart from that, there were real half chances. Arsenal didn't really create too many clear-cut opportunities, albeit there was that chance right at the death where if Timber just leaves it for Gyökeres, you're thinking that's got to be 2-1 Arsenal. And luckily for Chelsea, Timber got in his way. But look, I think before the game, you would have said it's a good point for Arsenal. After the game, probably not, because they were down to 10 men for such large periods. You're thinking you've got to win the game. And also with City having won, chance to extend the gap again and pull away from them, and a chance to pull away from Chelsea. Didn't take it. So is it a case of Arsenal having an opportunity to pull away again and not taking it, or is it just a good away point at the end of the day off the back of a difficult week? You beat Spurs, beat Bayern, and away and a point against Chelsea. I think I probably would have taken that at the beginning of the week. So I think at the end of the day, it's a good week for Arsenal, albeit it's probably, in the context of the game, it's not that they won't be delighted with the result, but I think in terms of the bigger picture, I think it's okay. Yeah,
still 5 points clear for them. They're still major favourites to win the league. And then look, they went to Stamford Bridge without their 2 starting centre-backs, in Gabriel and Saliba.
Also true.
I thought they did look a bit ropey. They didn't have the same synergy as maybe Gabriel and Saliba have, Mosquera and Hincapié, but they still did a decent job. And look, they take away a point from Stamford Bridge. And yeah, they'll just move on. They just can't. I feel like, look, they can't let this result affect them, basically. Like, I thought mentality-wise, like, a lot of Arsenal fans were talking about Arsenal's mentality coming into this game, and I think champions like Man City, if this was Man City at their pomp, you know what I mean? Like, if the other team gets a man sent off, they go and absolutely obliterate them and probably take the win. Arsenal didn't do that, but we'll see how it all progresses throughout the course of the season. Star men, as we mentioned before, Sim went for Erling Haaland. I went for Ryan Cherky. I got the assists. Sim got no goals, no assists. And we finished off this week 118 to Sim, 129 to myself, as we got midweek Premier League fixtures. So we'll bring you an episode of the Prem later on today as well. But thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you very soon.